Hey everybody, this is Jeannie. How are you? I'm here today to film another video. Today I am going to be kind of filming in a three-part series, but I'm going to kind of do a run of videos today that hopefully I can get through. Thank you for joining me so much. Before I go further, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell so you can be notified of any time that I put a video up. I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel and become part of my family. So I am doing a video today on foundation by Stila. It's called Hide and Chic Foundation. It has a lot of claims. I've heard other YouTube influencers speak about it. And some of the women my age, I'm 53, I've got combination skin, I am going through menopause, which means things are a bit of a challenge. I do also have rosacea, and so if you can see, I am barefaced right now, but you can see I have some hyperpigmentation, and you might be able to see that I have some veins and so forth. Little spider veins, and that is part of rosacea. I also commonly get a rash on my forehead, and I do also get this kind of redness throughout my cheek area. So I do use a lot of good products for that. But anyhow, if you feel like you want some beauty tips, you're 45 and older, you're going through the change in life, hormones are all over the place, please join my channel and maybe we can help each other. Also, FYI, I am going through a neurological journey, and it's quite a journey. It's kind of like MS. They haven't actually named it, but they did say I have an autoimmune disease that is attacking my neurological system. So it does interfere with my speaking, my swallowing. Sometimes it interferes with movement and my thought process as well. So if you'll be patient with me, I really appreciate it. Today is one of those days. I woke up, I wasn't feeling 100%, and I did start to become symptomatic. I started to feel what I call wonky. Just being up for a short time. And so as I talk, sometimes it gets a little more difficult for me to talk. My muscles don't always do what I need them to do. And so you'll have to just kind of, I appreciate if you would make an allowance for that and just kind of be patient, because I may stumble over my words. It may be difficult to talk, and at times I might seem a little wonky or impaired. I'm not impaired by use of any medications. I'm just impaired by whatever is going on with me. I did start treatment about 3 weeks ago, and actually I just started my 4th week of treatment. But the treatment I'm taking can take anywhere from 3 months to a year to really kick in and do what it's supposed to be doing, but I've got really high hopes. So anyhow, enough of that. We're going to talk about the Stila foundation. I went ahead and I just got some samples because I didn't want to spend money on this foundation if I wasn't going to be able to use it, and I didn't want to get it and bring it back. Thank you to my girls at Sephora. Shout out to you. I love you guys so much, and you've made me feel so good and so comfortable and so loved and cared about when I come up to see you. Please know these gals in Roseville are absolutely amazing. I love them, and they are wonderful to do business with, and they're so good at their jobs, and I just have to say they all need raises. No, they're really wonderful though. And yeah, I mean, why shouldn't they get raises? But they are awesome, and I love them. And thank you so much for being there for me when I'm not in good form. And you always make me feel comfortable, and you always ask me how I'm doing. And I really, really, really appreciate that. And it makes me really emotional just because sometimes it's hard, and you know, I'm trying to feel better so I can go back to my normal life. And I had about 4 days this past week where I felt pretty good. I've been really tired, but that's also attributed to I have a pretty good iron deficiency. But it's also brain on overload, I guess. That's what the physical therapist told me. So anyhow, I really appreciate you joining me. I appreciate your patience. And this has been a super long introduction. I'm so sorry. But let's go ahead and jump into this video. And let me talk about the Stila foundation. I'm going to kind of pull it up on my phone and we're going to move forward. This, some of the gals that have used it have loved it. It's supposed to not crack or, you know, fade or move around on your face or accentuate lines and wrinkles. And so it's getting 5 stars at Ulta. It's for sale at Ulta, at Sephora, and I'm sure at some other stores as well, and also online at the Stila website. Retails for $39. It's 1 ounce, and it's got a pretty good shade range. All the way from very pale skin to very dark skin. So I think that's wonderful. And I have 2 samples here. Like I said, it retails for $39. It's in a really pretty bottle. I think the bottle's very nice. Anyhow, so I'm going to kind of jump into it. I already went ahead and I did my skincare routine, so everything's on. I've got my primer on. I always use primer underneath my makeup because primer, it smooths out, and it smooths out lines, and it smooths and blurs pores, and it's just an essential part of, I think, laying down a really good foundation for making for a very good canvas. So I'm going to check out these foundations. I've got light medium 3 and light medium 1. Those are the 2 that look like they would match me the best. I'm going to go ahead and go over here and you guys can see kind of what I'm doing, and ooh, that's light. But, you know, I did notice that when this sheared out that it didn't look so light on the face. You know, and even if something's lighter, you guys, you can always go ahead and see, it's not so bad. It doesn't look so bad at all. This is like a medium to buildable full coverage also, I believe. Now I'm going to try this on the other side, and this one is the light medium 3. They're both pretty light, but maybe I'll just kind of mix them. You know, I think either way I'm going to go with the first one, and that's the light medium 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of dip my beauty blender in it, and I'm just going to kind of start putting it all over my face with this beauty blender. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it with the beauty blender on one side, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it on the other side with a brush and see how it goes, how it works. Ooh, I got it all over my fingers. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it on it. I usually use a really dark foundation. That's like my jam. Not super dark so that there's a huge line of demarcation, but I had to wipe off my hands. I can't work with my hands all yucky. But I usually use a foundation that's darker. I always have, because my chest tends to be darker than my face, and so there's a pretty good difference, but that's okay. We can do this, and I can always darken it up with some bronzer, or I can darken it up with some contour. Either way. So yeah, I made a goal for myself to really try to film more, even if I don't feel good. This looks really pretty. I mean, you can still see I have a lot of hyperpigmentation right here, but this is really pretty. I mean, this is like really giving me a really super pretty, smooth, silky kind of coverage. The other thing that I've learned about foundation is usually you want to go from here in. I did not do that just now, so sorry about that. But Oh, this is really going on nice. Now, I have a couple of foundations I love, but I don't know that. Wow. Like, this is really super pretty. The thing is, so down here, I think, is where older women tend to get more of the creasing and wrinkling and so forth, all through here. And I think that less is better in this area, just because it tends to accentuate whenever you put more foundation on. It tends to accentuate those areas that you don't want to accentuate. So I always try to do, you know, less in through there, and then I'll just go in and I will put a little more in through my hyperpigmentation and try and build it up. This is really smooth though. I mean, to me it looks like silk. It's very pretty, and I'll tell you something. This stuff is like going into the skin like a dream. I can't even believe it. I'm just going to go over the eye. It doesn't have sunscreen in it, so I think I'll be fine. This stuff is blending super nice though. I'm really surprised at how smooth my skin looks. And I am looking in a mirror right now that's super magnified. And it still looks good. So right away, I'm saying, wow, I like this foundation right now. Of course, you know, we have to give it a wear test and see how long it wears for, and see if it creases over time, moves or bunches up. So we'll see what happens with that. But wow, this is giving me really, really, really nice coverage without looking cakey or, you know, like I'm using a ton of it. And it actually does really match my skin tone. And I'm kind of like a neutral. Okay, so now I'm going to go on the other side with a stippling brush. It's hard to talk a little bit right now, but I'm, you know, doing it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some foundation all over and see what happens with this. I usually don't use a brush for foundation. It's not my favorite, but I know some foundations go on better with a brush. I'm just not a fan. I feel like I don't usually like I don't really like the Coverage's brushes. I don't like it. I feel like it's accentuating my imperfections doing it with this brush. It's just, I don't think it looks good. But I'll just continue doing it to see. So, are there any new foundations or concealers or skincare that you guys would like to see? Right now, I've been using a lot of the Drunk Elephant. Let me know if you want me to do like a skincare video for you and talk about what I use for skincare. Some of the people that I've met, the gals that do makeup, they've told me they thought I had really good skin. Okay, you guys, I don't really like this. I feel like putting it on with the brush is not giving me smooth coverage at all. So, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go over it with this beauty blender. And just kind of make it smoother. Yeah. So that brush was not doing me any justice at all with this with this foundation. It actually looked really bad. Okay, it actually accentuated everything. So I'm just going to go in with the Beauty Blender again, and I'm going to start kind of trying to cover the areas that I know have the hyperpigmentation and the places that I really don't want to show up. And as I'm using the Beauty Blender, what I do is I kind of turn it around to where it doesn't have a bunch of product in it. So the product I put on my skin goes into my skin versus, you know, piling up more and more of the product and not being able to get it to lay down on and soak into the skin as I would like it to. Don't forget to always kind of get your ear and down on your neck as well. This is pretty though. Whoa. This is super pretty. I really tell you, I love this so far. Oh my gosh. This is like really nice. If I had to like judge it by the past like 4 minutes, I would say I'm in love with this foundation. But I don't do that. I just say, well, let's wait and see how it performs over time. Okay, so I'm switching to the other side of my beauty blender, and I'm just going to kind of get this into my face. It goes on for my skin much better with a beauty blender. My little guy's here. Hi, little guy. Hi. So the beauty blender is definitely the way to go, as far as I can see. I think this is giving me really good coverage. I think this looks really pretty on the skin. I think I like it. What do you guys think? Let me zoom you in. Okay. I think this is pretty. I think this looks pretty good. I mean, look, I'm 53. I've got some lines and wrinkles, and that's just the way it is. But it doesn't mean I have to wear things that make me look terrible. I'm just going to kind of blend it under the eyes a little more. By the way, even though it's winter, please still wear sunscreen. It's very important to do that. Okay, so this foundation, I think it looks good. I think that, let me see here. I like it. I kind of want to see how it settles into the skin throughout the day. I'll be checking that out to see. Sometimes when you put foundation on, I'm just adding a little more to my reddish areas and building up some coverage. Okay, so these might be a little light for me, and sometimes if it's too light, it tends to accentuate things I don't want it to. Also, it can go one of two ways. It can move around and be stubborn and crazy and do things that are totally unacceptable, or it can actually just sink into your skin and make it look better and better and better. So we're going to see which way this one goes. It doesn't feel tacky or anything. I feel like I needed to dry down and see how it's going to do, because of course we apply with a with a damp beauty blender, and then you know it's a liquid, so it needs a little bit of dry down time. I can tell you this color is too light for me. It probably doesn't look that way on camera, but rest assured it is. I can see it. Can I bronze it up? Yes, I can bronze it up. Am I going to bronze it up? Yes, I'm going to bronze it up. But I really like the way this applied. It felt like it sunk into the skin really nice. It gave really even, pretty coverage. I can see where it's kind of sneaking into the lines under my eyes. I don't generally powder under my eyes at all, but some people do. But I can try to see if after I put on my concealer and so forth that it sets. It may, or it may get worse. It can go one of two ways. But this foundation applied super nice. It applied super even. I think it looks really good. It looks really good on the skin, although it looks good on the skin, although I feel it's creeping into my eye lines. And you might, I don't know if you can see that, but I feel like it's creeping into my under eye creases, and it almost now feels like a powder. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get away from the camera. I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to apply the rest of my makeup. And then I will come back. I'll come back after I apply my makeup and let you know at that point how it's sitting. Okay? So I'll be back in just a few moments. I wanted to report back to you on this foundation. I put this foundation on around 3 o'clock. So it's been on for about 6.5 hours. And here's the deal. So I've been having a little bit of an issue with my skin lately. So whatever's happening may not be related to this foundation. I will try it again. This is only the first time, but I haven't had any separation of the foundation around my face in the bottom portion. I haven't had any type of drying reaction. It doesn't feel heavy. It looks good almost everywhere except for in through here. It doesn't look that great, but that could just be what I've been using on my skin. And then also around my eyes, it again, it could be some of the things I'm doing with my skin, but it's my skin's been very crepey under my eyes. And I don't feel like this has gathered, but I feel like it's separated a bit around the lines of my eyes. It's nothing that you can see from here, from this far away. However, if I look very close into a mirror, then you can see it. So I like this foundation. I think my makeup looks still pretty good. I've been touching my face a lot, so I'm not so sure what it looks like in the camera. But I believe that my makeup has stayed on very well. I haven't had any major separation problems. It looks good around my nose. It hasn't collected in any of the lines or the pores. It looks pretty good on my forehead, around my cheeks. It's just under my eyes that I feel there's a bit of a problem. I'm going to try this foundation again and again to see what I can do with it and if it is my skin or not. But I mean, all in all, I feel like this foundation is really nice. It dries down very smooth. It's almost like a matte, silky type of smooth finish. It's not a radiant, glowing foundation. It seems to me to be more on the satin matte side. I don't really think it's a full coverage. I think it's a medium coverage. But I didn't want to keep putting on more and more because, again, as I stated earlier, when you do that, sometimes when you're older, less is better because less is more. If you use too much, and then it tends to bunch up and gather, and it doesn't look so good. So, anyhow, this is my report on the Stila Hide and Chic foundation. I am going to try it again and again to see how it holds up throughout the day. If you have any questions or comments, I sure appreciate if you would just leave them in the comments section. Please subscribe to my channel and become part of my YouTube family. I would love to have you as my YouTube family. And you can follow me on Instagram also at Jeannie Touch of Class Glam. And also I have a Facebook page, Jeannie Touch of Class Glam. I will link the information below regarding the makeup that I'm wearing at this time. And I will link where I got this little kimono from that I absolutely love. I think it's beautiful, and it's a little kind of kimono throw. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye.